Hi, Barr with Barr Specialty Tools from McCall, Idaho. Today I'm going to go over honing corner chisel. And this corner chisel has been ground on a wet grinder and is set up and ready to have the edge put on it. So we're going to go through it with some basic tools that are available to anyone. We have a jeweler's diamond file, round, and I have a blind file, which is a file I've just ground all the material off of to make it nice and smooth. And I'll use that with some 600 grit emery paper. I also have a little tool that's great for honing and polishing. And this is a piece of cedar closet lining. It could be any kind of wood, really. It has a little flex, and then there's leather, heavy strap leather on it, like a number 8 weight leather, and then a buffing compound that I rub on it. So in lieu of a buffer, if you have a buffer, great. But if you don't have a buffer, this will work really well to get a mirror polish on. Okay, so the first step will be, after this has been ground and ready for the honing, you can see I still have this, got this nice little point here on this corner chisel, which is easy to find your mark and get your cut started. So we want to keep that, the integrity of that point. And this little diamond file, we're just going to set an edge on here. And the beauty of this is I can get right into that. Not a lot of pressure, because if you push hard, you might slip, and the thing will cut you. I've cut my thumb on these babies more than once. So back and forth this way. I don't know if you can zoom in on this. You can see this burr that's starting to come up. And you want to feel that burr all the way down to the point. And that's your micro bevel on your corner chisel, which will give you, a chisel edge that'll take more impact. All right, the next tool I'll use is the blind file. I'm going to wrap it in some cloth emery paper. This is 600 grit. It's something you should be able to find at an auto parts store and get it to the proper size and wrap it around there and just hold on to it. And when I start, I'll start with a stroke just this way. What that does is we have that flat surface and we're hitting the whole edge and we're getting it straight. You can see that, maybe you can see that point's coming up a little bit. It's getting a little nice little polish on it. We'll go this way on the other side. Nice steady pressure. And I'm using this corner to get into the corner on that half round. And that's what gets in there and polishes up that point. And then at this point, you can carefully just go back and forth. If you push too hard, you'll cut the paper. But if you're gentle, you just want to go back and forth, real short little strokes. Just feel that. There. And there. Now, you've got a pretty nice 600 grit polished edge, and we're going to go beyond that. We're going to go to a mirror finish on this thing. Okay, now I've moved over to a diamond stone, flat stone. You could use Japanese water stone that's flat. You could use a hard Arkansas stone. Almost any stone. What we're going to do is use it to break that burr back. In other words, we're going to work on the flats of the corner chisel. Right now you can feel there's quite a heavy burr on this. And on this side I've already honed it, and there's no burr, you can't feel it. So basically we're starting to bend that burr back and forth. On my diamond stones, I like to use either combination of simple green and water. Works great, floats the particles out and keeps your stone nice and clean. You can use regular water as well. And so what I'm going to do is Make sure that thing is on there and really flat. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth. There, you can see how that's pulled up that flat really nicely, and that gives you, you know, a better cutting chisel anyhow. You got that super flat edge that's really going to want to go straight when it gets into a mortise. So we're going to do that. And you don't have to spend a lot of time on this. You just want to get it to where that burr is going the other way and starting to come off. I don't know if the camera will pick up on that. This side still has that burr. You can see how it's rough. You can take your finger and kind of work that thing back and forth like a beer can. You know, bending it back and forth and break that burr off, because that's what we need to get rid of, is that burr. Okay. Now we're ready to go back over and use the buffing stick to pull this up to a mirror. Okay, we're going to call this a buffing stick for lack of another term. I went over it earlier. I have that heavy leather on it, and I use, you can use a contact cement. I use barred cement on this because it works great on leather and wood. And here is some green polishing compound. This is one that is available from knife making supply companies. You could use any of them. There's products called Zam that jewelers use. And I take that and I rub that on that leather and get that to coat it pretty well. And the edge too, because the edge of that leather is what will go into that corner and give us that mirror polish. Now when we get to this point, our burr's gone, so we're not fighting and breaking the burr off anymore. And this is a one stroke, one direction. You really have to watch it because the thing is getting awfully sharp. But we're just going down and down and down. Go to the other side. And it's nice to have that paddle. It's nice to have a little bit of flexibility in it. And then watch it when you go by it on your thumb. If we can get the camera in there, you can look at that. You can see how mirror polished that's coming up. Way safer than using a buffer. Not quite as fast, but right now this chisel will shave for sure. So we're going to go over it a few more times. Take your time. And I'm pushing. I have pretty good pressure on there, but I still have a lot of control. I don't feel like I'm pushing so hard I'm going to push it out of the vise. And something I didn't mention earlier is that the chisel itself is in my vise with a leather protector so that I don't bark up the tool and put little dents in it from my vise jaws. But that is a great way to get that corner chisel really serviceable again, and it won't take that long. And right now you can feel it. There's no burr left. You have a mirror polish on the edge, and you can spend, however much time you want on that edge. I mean, the more you do this, the shinier it's going to get, and the better it'll cut. Okay, let's take that out. Have a look at it. So you can see on the flats, nice and flat, really straight. Nice and flat, really straight. And no burr. And that chisel right now will make the hair jump off your arm. Look at that. And that is how I hand hone a corner chisel.